Right, good morning, everyone. So I think we've given people enough time to join, so we'll get started now. Welcome. I'm Philip White, and I'll be hosting today's session, which is our third ambassador event. I'm the deputy leader of Staffordshire County Council, and I'm also lucky enough to be the chair of Enjoy Staffordshire, which is the destination management partnership for the county. The theme of today's event is very much about enjoying Staffordshire. We're thankfully coming out into the world again, and we're lucky enough in our county that we have many wonderful things for people to do, and we'll be talking about some of those today. It's great to see that over 150 businesses have signed up to attend today, and we'll also be providing you some key updates regarding business in the county and the development of the ambassadors and the place board. The real power of these events is about hearing about new initiatives and developments and success stories and the people who are making them happen. And so that's going to be the main focus of the event today. But I'll just say a few words about that visitor economy and enjoying Staffordshire, because I think it's really important we understand what that means for our place. So tourism and visits to Staffordshire is worth about 1.87 billion to our economy, and we have about 28 million visitor trips per annum, which supports 33,000 jobs, which is about 6.7% of all employment in the county. So this is a huge part of what we do. Equally importantly, though, people who visit Staffordshire are people who may choose to settle here, they may choose to work here, they may choose to invest here. So by putting our best foot forward, we're really showcasing what we have to offer as a place. With that in mind, we have a number of speakers today who will hopefully speak to that in some detail. So firstly, we have Louisa Grocott, who is the Place Brand Manager for We Are Staffordshire, who's going to provide an update on what We Are Staffordshire have been doing over the last few months. I certainly know she's been very busy. Next, we have Nicola Kent, who is our Growth Hub Manager at the Stoke-on-Trent Staffordshire Growth Hub. They support businesses in the county, particularly smaller businesses, and have been absolutely invaluable over the last 18 months in terms of making sure that the Staffordshire economy has actually fared pretty well in difficult times compared to both the region and the country. So Nicola's going to give us an update. We then have, I shouldn't play favourites, but possibly my favourite for the speakers today, which is Jill Sherwin, the Operations Director of Best of British Beer, a brilliant Silverdale-based company. We then have Maria Howes, who is the Head of Communications and Marketing at the National Memorial Arboretum. Maria's showed us that she's about 6 months into her role. So I think Maria's going to tell us what the Arboretum's doing, but she's also quite keen to hear from all of you in the Q&A. More about that in a moment. And then finally, we have Josh Chadwick, who is the General Manager at the Tawny, which is a new hotel that's launching next month in Staffordshire Moorlands. Following that, we will have a Q&A, and I encourage you all to be scribbling fiercely as we go through the session with your questions. But if you can't wait to ask them, then you'll see the Q&A button is at the bottom of your screen, a little way along from the mute and video off button. So feel free to put your questions in there at any point. And with that, I will now welcome Louisa Grocott to the virtual stage, who will be giving us an update on the Ambassador Network, digital portal development, and how to get involved in our sales force for Staffordshire. So without further ado, over to you, Louisa.
Thanks, Philip. Good morning, everyone. I'm Louisa Grocott, the new Place Brand Manager for Staffordshire, who's leading on our new placemaking approach. It's really brilliant that so many of you have been able to join us here this morning for what will be bi-monthly Staffordshire Ambassador meetings, showing you as representatives of businesses and organisations across Staffordshire. Growing a prosperous Staffordshire is at the heart of this new place-based approach, and it's all of our responsibility to deliver the Staffordshire story and to bang the drum for our county. Today's event is being recorded and will be distributed after the event. And whilst you have your phone and tablets or desktop laptops to hand, it would be great if you could show your support and tweet or mention us on LinkedIn or any of your other social channels as we go along using the hashtag We Are Staffordshire. As a reminder and a recap, I wanted to start by going back to where all of this all started. Consensus among business leaders, universities and the public sector in Staffordshire was that Staffordshire really was punching below its weight. We've got great treasures, but we weren't always shouting about them and banging the drum for ourselves enough. We wanted to develop a forward-looking place story that was the heart of a new place marketing-led approach. And out of that, we led one of the largest focus groups and pieces of stakeholder engagement that we have for many years, with place experts thinking place who were advising us. The aim of this initiative was to get as many businesses and people and organisations behind the new Staffordshire, We Are Staffordshire approach as possible, and telling our Staffordshire story. Our story articulates the distinctiveness, character and characteristics of Staffordshire. It highlights what makes us special and the opportunities for the development and promotion of the county, presented under a number of key themes: active, adventurous and fun, inspiring and applying ingenuity, and cherishing our natural livability, the quality of life that we offer people here. Tied together to that is the central big idea that Staffordshire is a nationally valued centre, a place of national significance. And we'll hear more from one of our national centres, Maria House and the National Memorial Arboretum, later this morning. The point of me being here and talking to you today in this particular slot is to give you an update on our Staffordshire Ambassador Network. You may remember from our last session that we were about to launch our new We Are Staffordshire website. And I'm very pleased to say that just before Staffordshire Day on the 1st of May, we launched that new site. Stage 1 provides a shop window of our site, but stage 2 will now look to develop a custom-made ambassador portal that provides you with the assets, materials, and design collateral for you to be able to shout about Staffordshire in your own business engagements and in your own kind of conversations and work. Our Staffordshire Ambassador Network is a free membership model. So really it's about asking you to be the sales force for Staffordshire, to put your pride for Staffordshire at the forefront of what you do. And Staffordshire ambassadors will be regularly informed about developments in the area through these meetings, but also potentially through additional networking events in the future as well. We're asking businesses to sign up to be ambassadors through the new site, and we already have over 50 people just in the sort of month that we've been launched, and growing every day. We're holding an onboarding and welcoming event for all of our ambassadors on the 24th of June, and I'll soon be releasing another date in September as well, to be able to welcome and for you to ask any questions about being an ambassador. And we very much hope to welcome and acknowledge our ambassadors at our first physical event, if we're able to do so with the roadmap, in September, and that will be our first physical Staffordshire Ambassador session. Our ambassadors will be the first to receive news, invites and updates via our mailing list. So if you do want to sign up today, please get in touch with me or visit our website, and the ambassador section is right at the top. And we very much look forward to having you as part of the network. I'll now hand back to our compere for the day, Philip. Thank you very much.
That's great. Thank you very much, Louisa. So our next speaker is Nicola Kent, who is the manager of the Stoke and Staffordshire Growth Hub. Nicola is going to provide us an update on the work of the Growth Hub. I'll just wait until we get to the right point. Nicola, okay, without further ado, I will hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Philip. Good morning. I am Nicola Kent, lead manager for the Stoke-on-Trent and Staffordshire Growth Hub, which I am here to talk to you about today. Next slide, please. The 38 local enterprise partnerships across England were tasked with creating a hub to help businesses over their barriers to growth and access the huge amounts of support available from the private and public sectors that businesses did not know existed, or how and where to find it in their local area. Evidence suggests that businesses that utilise business support often grow faster than those that don't. and growth hubs were created to work with businesses, to diagnose their situation, provide advice and support, and refer them to the most relevant business support programmes in the local area. The Stoke-on-Trent and Staffordshire Hub is a partnership between Staffordshire County Council, Stoke-on-Trent City Council, the Staffordshire Chambers of Commerce, and the Greater Birmingham Chambers of Commerce. Staff who work in the hub are employed by one of these four, who part fund and house them in their organisations. This means that the Stoke staff's growth hub overheads are extremely low, and as much funding as possible is spent on providing support direct to businesses. The hub works by businesses contacting the Staffordshire Business Helpline via phone, email, web chat, or through the website. The helpline is manned by a qualified business advisor who will either resolve the query with immediate assistance or will refer the business to one of the other qualified business advisors who will make an appointment to undertake a diagnostic. In addition to the generalist advisors in the hub, there are specialists in the areas of human resources, marketing, finance, and high growth. The hub uses standard and specialist diagnostic tools, which allow the advisors to understand the issues faced by a business and recommend specific business support programs for them. The Growth Hub refers to over 100 different schemes and programs provided by the private and public sector through local, regional, and national organisations. A CRM keeps track of all this work and allows advisors to build a relationship with those businesses highlighted as having growth potential. The hub works very closely with partners such as the Department of International Trade, the Manufacturing Growth Programme, the Business Innovation Centre, and the universities to ensure businesses receive the most appropriate support for their needs. Normally, the hub provides events, workshops, seminars, and business support clinics across the districts of Staffordshire with partners on specialist areas such as marketing, access to finance, and R&D tax credits. At present, webinars are replacing these face-to-face activities, and a series of interesting topics have been developed alongside partners such as the Chamber of Commerce to ensure we avoid duplication and maximise attendance. These are advertised by the weekly Growth Hub newsletter and website and are available in the new webinar library launched just before Christmas. Next slide, please. The Stoke-on-Trent and Staffordshire Growth Hub was established in 2015 and since that time has been active in helping businesses across the whole county. The diagram on this slide shows the main areas of work covered by advisors, although the hub endeavours to be the first stop shop for all business-related inquiries. The numbers show the levels of support that have been provided. Business interventions are counted in light, medium, and high-intensity contacts, as some businesses use the Growth Hub to help with simple signposting to other services. Some use the 3-hour diagnostic tools, and others have a key account management relationship with advisors who've provided a minimum 12 hours of business support to them. Referrals to other organisations are very important, as the Growth Hub's main aim is to diagnose the particular barriers to success or growth that a business may be experiencing, and then aims to create a bespoke package of support by making specific referrals to specialist business programs. Next slide, please. However much I'm sure we would all like to avoid talking about COVID-19, it cannot be escaped. An enormous amount of work was undertaken by the Growth Hub teams once the pandemic hit at the end of March 2020. The Chamber and local authority staff have been extremely busy assisting local businesses and sending communications on the various government and local schemes out as quickly as possible after they were announced. The Staffordshire Business Helpline and Business Inquiries email account have been a lifeline for many desperately concerned businesses, and we continue to help those still finding it difficult to trade due to the restrictions upon them. The news that an EU trade deal was agreed was a great relief to all of us. And whilst the number of EU exit inquiries have reduced, the Growth Hub is still dealing with difficult issues for local businesses. Themed webinars and newsletters were sent regularly during the 100 days countdown to the end of the EU transition period. And information remains available on the Growth Hub website to assist with any exporting or importing issues you may be experiencing. Our colleagues in the Staffordshire Department of International Trade team are one of the busiest in the country, dealing with the revised documentation expected at customs, so please contact them for help if you need it. In 2020, Growth Hubs in England were provided with additional funding to help them with all the changes. An additional EU advisor was employed to work alongside the DIT team and the Growth Hub advisors. The funding was used on purchasing specialist support from consultants and lawyers who specialise in EU regulations and law, and they have been extremely useful in tackling some of the very complex issues experienced by businesses who move goods across a variety of countries, particularly in relation to VAT and customs declarations. If you are experiencing issues relating to importing and exporting, please get in touch. Communication is vital for ensuring that business managers are aware of what is available and can therefore make informed choices about their future. The Growth Hub newsletter is circulated weekly to over 7,800 subscribers, and it contains information on all the current and new funding programmes available, as well as links to areas of support such as peer-to-peer networking and the popular Do Digital campaign, which helps businesses to increase their knowledge and use of relevant technology. If you are not subscribed, then I would recommend signing up as soon as possible. If you visit the Growth Hub website on www.stokestaffsgrowthhub.co.uk, you will find all the information you need to ensure you are kept up to date. Inquiries about business premises occur on a regular basis. Conversations with local businesses and a recent feasibility study prove that there is a shortage of good quality business space for small businesses, particularly light industrial and workshops. Local authorities and private sector developers are working together to try and alleviate this situation by increasing the number of premises available in the county. Projects are ongoing to create a new county council enterprise centre in Stafford, additional space in Burton, and 2 enterprise centre extension projects are completing in Cannock and Silverdale. If you are experiencing difficulty in accessing business premises, please call the Growth Hub and we will put you in touch with the Make It Stoke-on-Trent and Staffordshire team, who will work with you using their database and expert knowledge of the local property market. The key to developing a successful business support network is partnership working. In the last year, the Growth Hub has carried out several campaigns in conjunction with local authorities, the LEP, Destination Staffordshire and the Chamber of Commerce. One was Shop Safely in Staffs and another was Enjoy Staffs Safely. The first campaign involved interviews with local shopkeepers and shoppers in particular towns, highlighting the benefits of staying local. Videos were widely circulated via social media and posted on the Growth Hub and District Council websites and were very, very well received. The Enjoy Staffs campaign highlighted the amazing places that can be visited across the county, promoting tourism businesses while advising people how to visit them safely. Now the Growth Hub is supporting Staffordshire County Council and the district and borough councils in a £5 million business support programme relating to COVID-19 recovery. Staffordshire Means Back to Business was created to help businesses recover from the pandemic. Assistance is provided to eligible businesses to provide fully funded apprenticeships, workforce training and grants of up to £5,000 for businesses with an ambition to grow and thrive. As part of Staffordshire's ambition to be the best place in the country to start a business, a new scheme was launched in July 2020. Commissioned by the County Council and provided by Staffordshire Chamber of Commerce, this scheme was set up to support people who had been made redundant or were at risk of unemployment due to the pandemic. To date, 219 people are working their way through the course, which supports individuals in group and one-to-one sessions to set up a new business and start trading. Due to the success of this scheme, Ignite was created for young entrepreneurs who are considering starting a business, and the County Council are working closely with local colleges and the Chamber of Commerce in partnership to help these young people. In November, a startup loan scheme was created to assist the new fledgling businesses with up to £5,000 with no fees or interest. And this provides a safe and structured doorway into the world of business loans. A new electronic startup brochure is under development and will be launched soon to ensure everyone knows what a great place Staffordshire is to start a business. I hope that you found this useful. Thank you very much for listening to me. I would now like to introduce you to a case study showing a business who has received business support. Jill Sherwin, the Operations Director from the Best of British Beer, is here to talk to you about their experiences.
Thank you, Nicola. Hi there, everybody. My name's Jill from Best of British Beer, and I launched Best of British Beer in 2011 with my husband, Will. Next slide, please. We champion the best of British beer, so it's exactly what the name is. So we're a specialist retailer, and this really is a golden age for brewing. There are more, and for being a beer drinker, there are more independent breweries now than any time since the Second World War. We've stocked probably just under 500. And at any one time, we've got about 150 different breweries in the warehouse. So even though we feel like we've had quite a lot, we're just really at the start. There's quite a long way to go. When we launched, we worked from home with our dining table as a packing bench and a very small shed as a storage area. And the novelty of having a lot of beer at home really did actually wear off quite quickly. And we've now got a 7,000 square foot warehouse in Silverdale. And we have 15 members of permanent staff, which is a 30% increase on the last year. Next, please. So you probably noticed that I'm not a local. I moved here in 2008. And where I'm from in Scotland is very similar to Stoke-on-Trent. Our economy was built on mining, steelworks, industry. So I've got a huge affection for here. It really, really does feel like home. We moved here in 2008, really for the reasons that you've been talking about, and we are Staffordshire. It's great value housing. It's near the countryside. There's brilliant distribution links. Although I think my husband would probably say it was just easier to get to the football on a Saturday. But when we moved here, we had proper jobs and we travelled a lot. So the fact that we were in Staffordshire, we were in the middle of the country and we could get anywhere quickly was quite a big decision. Next slide, please. But after moving here and realising that we were just never here, we made the decision to set up a business, and we decided to set up Best of British Beer, as I said, in 2011. And there's always lots of important decisions you make in a business, and sometimes you don't realise they're important until afterwards. But we live on the border of Cheshire and Staffordshire. And when you come out of our house, you can literally turn right to Cheshire and left to Staffordshire. And we do gravitate a little bit towards Staffordshire. So when we'd ran out of patience with all the beer in the house, we thought, right, we need a unit, and we just turned left and went to Staffordshire. And with hindsight, it was the best decision we could have made. And if you've only ever been in Staffordshire, you might not realise that not everywhere is as friendly and helpful and supportive as it is here. And I think turning left and going to Staffordshire was the reason really why the business has grown as much as it is. Next slide, please. So these are just three of the organisations that helped us so much and really have helped us to grow. So first of all, Newcastle Council. When we realised we needed a building, I think when you're a startup, you don't know whether it's going to work or not. And if you start with something and it's cost you a lot of money and it's failed, that's obviously rubbish. So our motto has always been, do it quickly and do it cheaply, so that if it doesn't work, it's not so much of a disaster really. So when we needed somewhere to operate from, we called the council, and within a day of viewing a unit, they'd given us the keys. So there was no delay, there was no barrier to entry, and it was very much an easy in, easy out. So if after a few months we didn't need it, which we didn't because we grew, we could move and get another unit easily really, and that was incredibly helpful. Keele has been important for several reasons. I think the main one really is that we've got this ready supply of students that are all fit and healthy and really happy to walk around the warehouse carrying lots of beer. So it's been really, really helpful for lots of part-time staff. We've taken advantage of the Keele internship scheme several times. And if you haven't done that, you haven't heard of it, I really urge you to get in touch with the business team there, because we've given people full-time jobs as a result of it. You get some really keen, bright students to come and work in your business. And that's just fantastic. And I think another benefit that we didn't foresee is that the teaching staff really like beer. So they're quite a good customer base. we sell quite a lot of beer to Keele staff. So that's been excellent. And then last but certainly not least, the growth hub. I think when you've come from a sort of corporate background and you come into, to working in your own business, you don't know what you don't know. And one of the things we thought, let's setting up an e-commerce business, that neither of us had any experience in e-commerce. You sort of think that if you're online, everybody can find you. It never crossed my mind that they couldn't. And I think having an online business is a bit like being down a dark alleyway where all your shop window lights out. People don't know you're there unless you work at it. And the Growth Hub gave us access and signposted us to some really good digital marketing experts that showed us how to become more visible, and really showed us how to build an online business. And that was invaluable. But I think one of those other sort of pivotal moments is we'd outgrown all the units that we were in, and we couldn't find a unit in the area to move into. We couldn't find a warehouse. And we found one in Crewe, and we went really quite far down the line, and we spent a lot of money that we couldn't spare. And it got to the end and we thought, Cheshire's just not right for us. We are a Staffordshire business. So we withdrew from that, and we spoke to Matt at the Growth Hub about buying a warehouse. And that was actually quite scary, because to go from just renting somewhere that you think, okay, I've got a couple of years on this, to actually owning a large commercial unit, we were really nervous about. And Matt came and spoke to us about different types of funding and things that were available to us. And whilst we didn't go down the funding route, it was his conversation that really gave us the confidence to just do it. And I remember he said, because he's obviously speaking to lots of businesses that are, much bigger than ours were. And I remember he said that you might think you don't need this unit now, but once you have the space and you have the capacity, you'll grow into it and you'll have opportunities that you never thought was possible. And that's been absolutely right. So in the last 18 months, whilst I know it's been really, really tough for lots of businesses, when all hospitality and pubs shut, everybody just turned to drinking online. So there was times where we were 9 times busier than the previous year. And at the moment, we're probably about 4 times busier now. But we couldn't have done that if we hadn't had the confidence that the Growth Hub had given us, and actually just buying our own unit. We would never have, we'd never have been able to grow. So that really was a pivotal moment for us. Next. And so keeping it local has always been really, really important to us. We made it, I think, because we are so proud of the local area, we made a decision early on that whilst we would buy beer from the whole of Britain, we would stock all the local breweries, and everything else we could buy, we would buy from this area. And that's just been absolutely brilliant. And again, with hindsight, if we hadn't done that, and we'd, been sourcing in Europe and further overseas, Brexit would really, really have hit us. And I think with the sort of creativity, and somebody mentioned ingenuity earlier, that you have in this area, anything that you need, you can find here. Somebody can make it, and if they can't, they'll find somebody that can. So other than beer that we need to buy everywhere, we tend to buy everything within the Staffordshire, a couple of things West Midlands, but we buy everything local. So again, when our business just grew exponentially last year, we didn't have any supply issues that other people had, because most things were within, a few miles of here. Next slide, please. So these are some of the people that we work with. So I've mentioned a couple of breweries there. We use all the local breweries, but Titanic are quite important for us. Staffordshire Brewery are hugely important to us. We have lots of our own beer brewed, and we actually contract it to them. So they provide us with a lot of beer. But I've got to touch on packaging as well, because that's a really important thing for an e-commerce business. And the companies around here that do packaging, they make packaging for all the pottery. They make it for some of the most fragile goods, and it has to go across the world. So it's absolutely perfect for packaging up bottles of beer. So all of our packaging comes locally. Lots of our wooden crates come from, that you can see here, come from the West Midlands. We could get them at a third of the price from the Czech Republic or the Ukraine, but we wouldn't have the same supply, and we wouldn't be supporting local businesses. So it's really important to us that we keep it local. And we support local charities as well. So I'm really proud to be a trustee of Alice Charity. They do just amazing work locally, and we work really closely with them as well. Next slide, please. But it's not just about who we buy from. Obviously, it's about who buys from us as well. That's really important. And I think we, as well as our own website, we also one of 2 beer suppliers to Selfridges, and supplying not in the high street. And we are the alcohol gift provider for Funky Pigeon as well. So up until quite recently, most of our customers were down south. A lot of people see you on the shelves at Selfridges, and then they come down and find your website. So actually the business that we had locally was really small, and you would go and speak to people and they'd say, who, where are you? Because we were on the southeast, and well, that's great, we can get local breweries on the shelves in Oxford Street. It makes sense economically to have a much bigger customer base locally. So we've made a really sort of concerted effort on that. One of the main things is we worked with Strategy Solutions to have some billboards locally. And I can't tell you how good value that has been. The amount of people that are still turning up every day and saying, oh, we've seen your billboards. And as you can see here, 7% of our web visits are now from Stoke, which is bigger than some of, some larger cities like Bristol and Glasgow and things. And if you'd looked at that maybe 3 months ago, it would have been nothing like that. It would have been about 4% of our visits from Stoke. So we think that if you put the effort in locally, it gets totally repaid. There's an awful lot of goodwill locally to support businesses within the region. So really, we should have done that years ago. But it's, we're really proud to see that that's gone up quite a lot. Next slide. And so because of that, because we wanted to celebrate local and the local industry, I've been harping on for years about having a brewery. And every brewery that I tell, they say, don't do it, it's awful, and it's not anywhere near as glamorous as you think it is. So we've decided instead to become gypsy brewers. And most breweries will only brew for 2 or 3 days a week. The equipment lies dormant for the rest of the time. So when you're a gypsy brewer, you go into that other brewery and you use the skills and equipment they have to produce your own beer. So we've produced our first range of beers, and they're branded Ceramic City because they're all going to be local, and we've named them after local pottery terms, and they've just gone down brilliantly. So we had pallets and pallets of them delivered in April, and they've just about sold out. We've got a handful of boxes left, so we'll be doing a larger rerun of that for Christmas. But they're just, they're all, so you see it's called Majolica, Muffle and Biscuit, so they're all named after pottery terms. Next slide. And another reason why we've done this, because Staffordshire is the home of brewing. It has a very, very rich history of brewing. As you can see here, the first picture is Worthington's India Pale Ale. And that was, and everybody, has heard of India Pale Ale, and IPA is it called. And it was produced in Burton and delivered out to India. And it's now the most popular style in Britain. And it originated here. On the right-hand side, you'll see Burton Ale, but it wasn't actually produced here. It was produced in Essex. And the reason for that is that Burton water was really, really special to brewing. It had particular minerals that gave it a distinctive taste. So brewers still have a process called Burtonisation, where they get their normal liquor, water, and they add minerals to it to get the same effect that you would get if you had your brewery in Burton. That's how important it is. And in the middle, that is a little excerpt of a Manet painting, which you'd recognise if I showed you the whole thing, the Folie Bergère, and that shows you the Bass trademark, and that was the first registered trademark in the world. From the mid-1800s, and it's still going strong now. So another thing to be proud of. So I'm not quite sure Bob will be going for that long, but if we do have any sort of longevity, I do think it's because we based our business in Staffordshire. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much, Jill and Nicola. That's a really great presentation. I think that shows in those joint presentations both the extent of the support that's available for businesses in Staffordshire, and that's not only startup businesses, it's businesses like Jill's, where somebody's hit on a really good idea and got it going, but then they want to take it to the next level, which is fantastic to see. But I think it's also a great illustration of what this is all about, which is it's celebrating those fantastic things that we have in Staffordshire that maybe we haven't historically shouted as loudly about as we should. And it's interesting your last slide there about the history, because I'm a Burtonian, so I'm very proud of that history, and I really enjoy whenever I go down to London on business. I go to St Pancras Station, which was built around being able to accommodate Burton beer. And the barrels from the Bass Brewery fitting in there. And so I think what you're doing in Silverdale is a bit of a modern take on that, really, for the e-commerce age. So I'm delighted that we've been able to showcase it here. So thank you. Moving on, we have a presentation from the new head of communications and marketing at one of our slightly more famous attractions, the National Memorial Arboretum, and that's Maria Holmes. Maria, I was furiously searching your LinkedIn, and I noticed that you came to us from the Symphony Orchestra in Birmingham. So I'm fascinated to know about the linkage between those two things as part of your presentation. So with that slight hospital pass, I'll hand over to you. Looking forward to hearing about the Arboretum 20th anniversary and what you're doing there.
Thank you very much, Philip. Good morning, everybody. So I'm Maria Howes, and I am 6 weeks in my role as Head of Marketing and Business Development. I'm very pleased to be here at the National Memorial Arboretum. If you haven't visited us or heard about us before, we are a 150-acre visitor site situated at the corner of the National Forest and in the heart of the country, just outside of Lichfield. Since its official opening 20 years ago, it has grown into an inspirational living landscape where families, friends and comrades can celebrate lives lived and remember lives lost. Next slide, please. And the next one, please. Thank you. So from our very first memorial, this polar bear that once stood alone in a muddy field, in just 20 years, the landscape has developed to include some 26,000 growing trees, landscape gardens, and almost 400 memorials dedicated to the armed forces, emergency services, and civilian organisations. Next, please. We're freely open to visitors all year round. Pre-booking is currently required, and we welcome over 300,000 people annually to explore, discover and remember in the way that they choose. As well as the memorials, visitors can experience riverside walks and participate in a wide variety of daily activities, including guided walks, land train tours, memorial talks, exhibitions and buggy tours. We also engage over 20,000 young people each year through our formal and informal learning programme. Next slide, please. Each year, around 250 events take place on site, from small, intimate services of remembrance to set-piece events like Armistice Day, Remembrance Sunday, a summer proms, and Armed Forces Day. We recently hosted the UK's D-Day 77 commemorative event in collaboration with our partners and also our parent charity, the Royal British Legion, partners the Normandy Memorial Trust and the Ministry of Defence, that you may have seen on the news. Next slide, please. This is just a picture from that event, just so that you can see the scale of it. Veterans, their families and relatives of the fallen were invited to this event, which included a live broadcast of the official opening of the newly completed British Normandy Memorial in Versailles, and the whole event was available to watch online. Particularly important at the moment because veterans weren't able to travel and were able to experience such a large and important event here on site. We have also developed Illuminated Arboretum, a now annual festival of light that runs over several nights across December. We're in our second year of running an outdoor escape challenge, which I guarantee is a lot of fun if you wanted to come and do it, which is for adults and younger visitors that provides an alternative way to discover the memorials on site. And we are also host to lunar cinema screenings. All of these activities contribute to that sense of living and celebrating life, as well as the remembrance core purpose that we are here for. It's really, really important that we do both. Next slide, please. The Arboretum has remained open to visitors since the 8th of June 2020, after the first lockdown, operating under various restrictions whilst offering our core charitable purpose at a time of public need. Throughout, it has been vital for us to remain connected to our audience and create a sense of place, whether that be on site or through virtual means. We've needed to adopt a more flexible approach with our customers, always at the heart of our decisions. And our commitment to excellence is demonstrated throughout the organisation, from our Visit England large visitor attraction of the year gold award, which we had in 2018, to achieving most recently the best in class from the Association of Leading Visitor Attractions benchmarking. Next slide, please. On May 16th this year, 20 years since we were officially opened by HRH, the Duchess of Kent, we launched our strategy for the next 5 years, which revolves around 3 pledges: remembrance, sustainability, access and inclusion. Running across these 3 pledges was our announcement in partnership with the National Forest to create a 25-acre memorial woodland in memory of every life lost as a result of the pandemic. This will create a new green space where people can reconnect, remember and forge new memories together. The landscape design will feature diverse wildlife habitats and will incorporate reflective glades, areas for gathering and play, an inclusive space for contemplation and worship, and an expansive lake. In addition to a grove of trees representing the diversity of religion across the Commonwealth, members of the public will have the opportunity to influence aspects of the design, and an ongoing community engagement plan will ensure it remains a representative and reflective space for future generations. Next slide, please. Whilst remembrance is our core purpose, discovery and enjoyment of our site can be had by all. The Arboretum is increasingly used by our visitors to meet with much missed friends and relatives, to share a coffee or lunch in our restaurant, to burn off some energy in our 2 children's play areas, to take a stroll in the beautiful surroundings, or, next slide please, simply to come because Stickman is here. Next slide please. In 2018, we opened our contemporary conference and events facility Aspects, which you can see here in this slide, which can cater for up to 500 guests. Aspects has a stylish arrivals lounge and bar with spectacular views. Next slide, please. Which you can see here. And then if you wouldn't mind going through the next few slides quite quickly, just so that I can demonstrate the spaces that we have. It has 7 flexible spaces suitable for meetings, conferences and banquets. Each room is named after a wood that you would find in the Arboretum. That's it, thank you. You can stop there. And each sign in the room is made out of the wood that room is named after. And those were produced by local companies. We try to use local companies where we can, and I'll demonstrate a little more in a second. But those were produced by Brandjam, who are in Staffordshire, and Hardy Signs in Burton. The pandemic has undoubtedly impacted the progress we have been able to make in developing Aspects. However, the team have worked diligently to seek creative solutions within each stage of the government roadmap for our corporate and private clients, including the ability to offer hybrid events, increased outdoor options such as the escape challenge, we do a corporate offer for that as well, and picnic boxes when we weren't able to offer food options inside, and providing space for the most nervous person rather than the legal minimum to ensure that all of our clients feel safe. And we felt that's part of our customer at the heart of our decisions, rather than pushing it to get more numbers in, really making sure that our clients and our visitors feel safe. Our food here, that's in Aspects, is on a slightly different level. It's prepared on site by our in-house team, and we take pride in our ethos of using high quality, locally sourced ingredients to create beautifully cooked food. I haven't yet had a chance to taste it myself, but I hope to very soon. We're passionate about using exceptional produce. We source as much as we can from the local Midlands region to support the environment and the economy around us. And all of our food and drink is sourced from suppliers located no more than 40 miles from the Arboretum. Our current local suppliers include Chartley Coffee, Burton Town Brewery, Needwood Ice Cream, Fresh View Food supplying us with products from Wells Dairy, Just Crisps, the Staffordshire Cheese Company and so on, and Owen Taylor butchers who make our unique Arboretum sausage from local Packington pork, Nottingham Bramley apples and secret spices. All the income that is raised through events goes back into supporting the Arboretum and helps to keep it free to enter, beautifully maintained and here for all. Next slide, please. So what's coming up? Along with everyone else, we will be navigating our return to business as usual post the pandemic, what that looks like and how we move forwards. Our upcoming programme of events, details can be found on our website, include Armed Forces Day in June, Lunar Cinema screenings in July, summer proms in August, we have 2 nights of those this year, and a partnership with the National Forest for the National Forest Trek in September. We will also be opening the new UK Police Memorial, which is definitely worth a visit on site, which pays tribute to the UK's police service. That is due to be dedicated and open to the public in July, but we're currently awaiting announcements to see whether that continues to happen. And we'll also be working on the next stages in our development of the Memorial Woodland. Next slide, please. You can find out more about the Arboretum. Oh, that's not what I expected. It was supposed to give you my details, but you can find more about the Arboretum on our website. Stay in touch by following us on our social channels, or feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or by email directly. I really hope that we can welcome you for a visit soon, and thank you for listening.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Maria. I'm going to be a little bit cheeky, actually, and I'm just going to ask you a quick question now, because I was really curious to know what attracted you to Staffordshire, because one of our big themes is attracting people to come and work here. And we managed to pinch you from the Birmingham Symphony Orchestra, so forgive me for springing it on you, but just a really quick question: what attracted you to us?
I live only 20 minutes away, so the Arboretum is very local to me. And following the pandemic, just a change. Lots of people have wanted to experience change following that lockdown period. And the Arboretum I knew quite well. I'm very close friends with somebody who used to work here. And just the opportunity just seemed absolutely amazing to be much more local to my family. I have 2 young boys, and to be contributing to our environment around us.
That's brilliant. I mean, that's is one of the things that we're keen to see more people do. So many of our professionals work in the cities around Staffordshire, and we'd love to have more of them working in our county. So it's really great that you're one of the people who's been attracted to doing that, and what a great place to do it in. So thank you very much, Maria. And no doubt there'll be a few questions for you when we get to the Q&A. The only thing that is now between us and that Q&A is Josh Chadwick from the Tawny Hotel, which I'm also really excited about. One of the things that I felt Staffordshire's needed for some time is some more specialist and boutique hotel offers. We've got a wonderful natural environment, and we have an incredible range of attractions in our county, but we need more people to come and stay with us. And having special and distinctive accommodation for them is one of the best ways to do that. And I have to say the Tawny looks like a fantastic example of that. So Josh, really keen to hear more. And I have to say personally really keen to come and see you once you are up and running as well. But I'll hand over to you, and you can tell everyone else about what you're doing.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Hello everyone. Yeah, so my name's Josh. I'm from the Tawny Hotel. A bit like Maria, I've only been there a few weeks, so a newbie to not the area as such, but the business itself. So we go to the next slide, please. So the Tawny Hotel what's great is it's owned by families from Staffordshire. It's a mixture of 2 families, lifelong friends coming together, which is Ben and Sarah and Will. And they're really big with being all about Staffordshire, or using our local suppliers from Staffordshire. Even the staff are quite local, which is great, and it's really showcasing what Staffordshire can offer. And our site, the Tawny, really is stunning, and people don't realise how stunning Staffordshire is and the surrounding areas. So in regards to the hotel itself, it's opening on the 8th of July. Well, 1st of July for some soft opening, but our big launch is on the 8th of July. To start with, our restaurant is built just for hotel guests, but we will be opening as well to non-residents. So any locals can come enjoy the restaurant and kind of see the hotel and what it has to offer. We've got a fantastic outdoor pool as well. And literally the view you see on that photo is kind of what you see from the outdoor pool, which on a day like that with the blue sky is really absolutely stunning and is really good. We've got about 100 jobs in total. So we've got the Placemaking restaurant on site, the accommodation. There's a big variety of roles. So there's some great new jobs for the local area as well. And being based in Console, it's quite difficult for some people local to that area to find jobs due to it being difficult if they don't drive. We're quite easy to get to, which is really good as well. And finally, again, showcasing local attractions with our hotel. We want to really showcase what Staffordshire has to offer. Of course, pottery is huge, local to us. Again, the breweries, with Burn-upon-Trent, Alton Towers is down the road, and there's also some great little things and some brilliant walks near as well in the moorlands. I know I've been doing a lot of walks in the local area even before I started at the Tawny, because it's just absolutely fantastic. And also with the business, it's not just about using local supplies as well, it's about being eco-friendly. As you can see there, our grounds are absolutely stunning, and we'll go on the history in a moment. And we want to ensure that our hotel was looking after the area. We didn't want to come in with big concrete bulldozers and building anything that was going to affect the environment, the nature, the habitats, anything towards the gardens, as they've been there for a long time. So everything we've built is eco-friendly. We are a completely deconstructed hotel. There's not a massive building with bedrooms. There's shepherd's huts, there's boat houses, there's tree houses, and everything has been built on steel beams, which means it's been just drilled into the ground around the tree roots. We've built around the trees, no tree felling. And that means we could literally in the future pick everything up and you'd never know anything was there. There'll be no deterioration to the environment at all, which is really good and was really important for the owners. And finally, why Staffordshire on there? Well, Staffordshire was, A, this location was stunning, and B, again, it's about championing what we have to offer. We've got some brilliant people. There's a lot of people from London coming up to stay. We've got people from Glasgow. We've got people from Edinburgh. We've got a couple of overseas next year. And what's great as well is a lot of people who are traveling, let's say from London up to Scotland, they're staying here as a halfway house, and actually they'll realise how great Staffordshire is, which is absolutely fantastic. If you go to the next slide, please. So this is the Placemaking restaurant. So again, this is on its own. There is no bedrooms attached to this building. It's just the restaurant you see. So in there, that is where we'll be offering a chef's table, cookery school eventually. And also in there, we've got some great, fantastic menus from Chris, our head chef, and Steve, our food and beverage manager. Steve, our food and beverage manager as well, he's very good with Staffordshire. He's worked at the boating in Lichfield, Moddershall Oaks, so he's got some great passion for the local area too. And also in there as well, again, that'll be open to non-residents. We'll have some afternoon tea. And as a business, we want to slowly, growly expand what we can offer and really make it a fantastic experience. If we go on the next slide, please. So in terms of the grounds and the Console history, as you can see there, a photo like that really doesn't feel like you're going to work every day. So it was originally built by William Podmore. He owned the grounds for a very long time, and he built the gardens you see today. So a lot of it was man-made landscapes. A lot of the lakes were man-made, but over time, nature has really taken its toll. There's a lot of nature around, and you'll soon have pheasants flying at you out of nowhere. And it's absolutely fantastic, and we want to continue his legacy, and we're still in touch with his daughter, and she's staying when we open, and he really wanted to do what we're doing, so we're continuing his legacy. And he's got a fantastic book about what he built on the grounds, how he built it, and his passion, and we want to continue that and continue the story of this local area. And we are still the Tawny Hotel on the Console Hall estate. We're still keeping the Console history. We're not coming in and deleting what's been there. We want to just continue our legacy and what's going on. So if you go on to the next slide, please. So in regards to accommodation, so as you can see here, what I mean by deconstructed is everything is different. There's some fantastic electronic vehicles we have, again, eco-friendly, that will pick up guests from reception and will take you to your accommodation. We can then take you to any spa treatments you're having. There's all heated, there's cooling, there's, it's not a golf buggy where you're going to get wet and be knocked around. And it is some really fantastic. They've all got outdoor spa baths. And again, rather than being a spa with chemicals and chlorine, it's a natural fill bath with some air jets. So it feels like a jacuzzi without any of the harmful chemicals. It's more eco-friendly. All the rooms will have things like complimentary mini bars as well. Again, with locally sourced local ales, even our wines we're using, again, for people that we've used in the past that are based down in Stafford. Which is great for Staffordshire, and again with even our food offering as well, anyone local where possible. And I think we've got to about 99% of being local now. There's just one thing on the menu we couldn't quite do local yet. So again, champion what Staffordshire has to offer. And in the rooms, there's different types of family friendly. So some of the rooms can interconnect to make 6 people. They can also be closed off for two separate couples. And nothing's on top of each other. They're very spaced out, so you don't feel like you're on top of each other, which is especially great with coronavirus at the moment. People feel they're secure, they're outside, they're not on top of people, which is a great selling point. And in July and August, we're nearly fully booked now, which is brilliant. And then just behind us on the site as well is the Foxtel wedding venue, which is owned as well by the same owners. And that's a fantastic addition. So it's a really good hub and good site. And I think the weddings there are pretty much sold out again for the next 2 years. So we're going to be really busy when we open, which we can't wait for. And the great thing is, as a business, the way the hotel's built, even if restrictions are still within place on the 21st of June, it won't affect our business, which means our staff can still start, we can still welcome guests to the area and really champion and showcase what Staffordshire has to offer. So that's the Tawny. Thank you very much.
Wow, so what a fantastic addition to our Staffordshire landscape there. So thank you very much, Josh, for that. I'm sure there will be a lot more booking inquiries coming from this presentation, including one from me, I think. So so that's great. So that takes us to the end of our presentations. I think as you can see, we really do have an enormous amount to offer in Staffordshire in terms of things for people to come and do, and we've showcased some really great ones there. So we have now 15 minutes for a Q&A, and we have a number of questions that people have kindly put into the Q&A box. There are one or two more in the chat, but I'm going to reward people for using the Q&A by doing those ones first. So the first question is to Nicola Kent from the Growth Hub from Berkshire Allport, which is to ask whether charities are able to use the Growth Hub. There's a second question from the same person, which is I'll ask you it, Nicola. If you want me to come in on it, then I will do. Which is to ask why there seems to be different levels of support for small businesses without premises from the county council and the city council. So let me know if you want me to come in on that one.
Thank you very much, Philip. Absolutely, we support charities. The Growth Hub is the first stop shop for all businesses, all sizes, all sectors, whatever you do, as long as you're based in Stoke-on-Trent and Staffordshire, please call. It doesn't matter if you're a charity, if you've been in existence for 75 years. We've had some businesses that have been around a long time. We have got people who can help you. And if we don't know ourselves, we have a whole range of experts across the country that we can access to help you with your particular problems or growth plans. In relation to the different offers, the local authorities are brilliant. They have all different schemes and they look at local priorities and they use their funding they have. And let's face it, nobody has a bottomless pot of money, but they use the money they have as wisely as they can to help support their priorities. So Stoke-on-Trent City Council, Staffordshire County Council, and all the district and borough councils have slightly different schemes. It is really complicated. That's why you should call the Growth Hub, because we are here to help sort through the complications of all the different schemes and try and find the best support for you.
Thanks, Nicola, and I'll just speak to that as well. So, in addition to being deputy leader of the county council, I'm also the portfolio holder for economy and skills. So, during the last 18 months, I've been at the forefront of the work that we've been doing to support businesses, and we have a really close relationship with Stoke-on-Trent City Council. We've worked together, and we've both shared ideas from one another, or cheerfully stolen them on occasion when we've seen something that really works. But I think the key differential is Stoke-on-Trent is a city environment. We're a county environment with towns and a lot of rurality. That often drives slightly different approaches to things. But if there's something that you want, the common ground is the growth hub. I think it's one of the big success stories in terms of supporting businesses in Staffordshire for that very reason, that whatever your question is, you can just go to that one place and they'll get you that answer. And if there's something that you see being done in the city and you think it should be done in the county or vice versa, that's a pretty good starting place as well to shout up about that. I can certainly say that we're always keen to listen to businesses and what will work for them. I run a small business myself, so I do understand personally. So hopefully that answers those questions. And moving on, we have a call to action. I think more than a question from John Roberts, which is just to say that there's a great demand for British beer in Bangkok. So Jill, if you'd be interested in doing some business there, Professor John Roberts would be interested in helping you to do that, and we'll share his contact details with you. The next comment is again, I think, more of a comment than a question. It's from Trevor McMillan, the Vice Chancellor of Keele University, who's surprised to hear that Keele University staff like beer, and has said that he's really pleased that the internship program that the university offers has been so helpful to Jill. Okay, the next one is a question. It's from Francis Beattie from Stafford Borough Council. And that's to ask, to what extent does the Growth Hub work with established businesses rather than just starters? And how much of the focus of the Growth Hub is on taking businesses from startup through small and medium phases, particularly in the third, fourth and fifth years of growth? Which I think is a really great question, but I'll let Nicola answer it, and I might be tempted to come in myself a little bit as well afterwards. But Nicola, over to you.
Thanks. The Growth Hub's key priority is business growth. It is the most important thing, identifying businesses with an ambition to grow and helping them to do so. We have 2 dedicated high growth advisors in the Growth Hub who use a variety of diagnostic tools, including the really excellent Growth Mapper, which asks a series of questions to all the directors and lead managers in a particular small business or medium-sized business, and helps you focus on where you are now, where you want to be, and how you're going to get there. And we do work very closely with over 100 different schemes and programs at universities and innovation centres to help businesses on their growth journey. So it is absolutely vital to us and really important, if you are in a growth situation and want some help with where you go next, that you contact the Growth Hub.
That's fantastic, Nicola. I think that says it all, doesn't it? So that's absolutely great. The next question is from Steve Alty, and that is to say, I've recently presented Staffordshire as a destination to Hilton worldwide sales team. And I'm now talking to coach operators regarding adding Staffordshire to their 2022 tour itineraries. Fantastic, Steve. Thank you for doing that. And the question, which is to Maria, is does the National Memorial Arboretum facilitate group tours? I very much hope the answer to that is yes.
Certainly is, yes. And we've obviously had to have a pause because of the group sizes, but we are certainly ramping up activity as we've gone through the stages. We offer groups. You can have a booking for a self-led group during the day, or for certain activities and packages. So we have a morning package where you can have a tour guide. You can use one of our buggies, and you get a breakfast. In the afternoon, it's a similar offer, but with a cream tea. There's So there's also packages for our events as well as our day visits. So for instance, the proms, there's a specific group offer there. We also have, I don't know much about this yet due to my newness, but we also have a combined offer with Lichfield Cathedral. So you can combine a day where you come to the Arboretum and do a Lichfield Cathedral tour as well. So we're open to anyone who might want to combine a groups offer with us, but groups is a really important part of our visitor offer.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thanks for that, Maria. And Steve, if you want to speak to me about that initiative, I'd be really interested to hear more about it as well. We've certainly got a lot of attractions to offer in Staffordshire, so it'd be great to have those parties coming through our area and spending their money here. So that's wonderful. Okay, the next question is from Sharon Hutchinson, which is perhaps a question to. Oh, actually, no. I think it is fine to say. So so Sharon says we're a small business, opened just last Tuesday. Congratulations, Sharon. We moved to Stoke, and the question is, are we too late to apply for any of the grants that are available for business support at the moment? So Nicola, it's another one for you.
We'd have to look at your individual situation, what stage your business is at, and all that sort of thing. But the Growth Hub can help you if you give us a call. I'm pointing in the right direction, everything backwards. Yes, give the Growth Hub a call, and we will talk to you about your individual situation and recommend any funding that as a new business you might be able to access.
Okay, that's fantastic. Lovely, thanks, Nicola. Okay, the final question on here is from Ed Bassett, which is a question for you, Louisa, about setting up a networking group for Staffordshire ambassadors, which I'll ask you to take offline with Ed. But Ed mentions that he runs Clip and Klein Stoke, which is a fantastic Staffordshire business, particularly good for team building events for Staffordshire companies. So I'll just highlight that there for you, Ed. And Louisa will come back to you about the suggestion of a group. So I'm looking for further questions now. We still have about 5 minutes left. So if anybody has anything else they'd like to ask, please furiously type away. And I'm just going to
come in there, Philip, for you. I think a few people have used the feedback function, so the chat function that was set up for kind of networking between panelists and between attendees. But I do believe some people have posted some questions in there, so you may find a couple more if you just have a scroll through. Thank you.
So I'm just having a little look through as we speak. We have another one that's landed in the Q&A, so I'm going to go to that. Okay, so it's another question from John Roberts. It's to Nicola. So John is working in conjunction with an exhibition company based in Bangkok, who are currently working on the next event. The event focuses on the ceramic industry and will be held in Vietnam. Would that be something that the Growth Hub might be able to get involved in promoting or facilitating?
I'd be very interested in talking to you about that. I did pick it up out of the Q&A, and I have made a note of your email address, John, so I will be in touch later.
Okay, that's fantastic. So I'm just looking through, Louisa, if I've missed any questions, feel free to pluck them out and ask me, but I think we probably got them all there. Unless you can spot anything.
Yeah,
there is a question about SEO. Yeah, I've just spotted that. So Michael McDonald has asked. I think this was initially to Jill, but if any other panelists want to comment, I'd be interested in their comments as well. And that's to say that search engine optimization seems to be quite a dark art with significant variations in pricing. And I think perhaps the suggestion there's a little bit of a lack of transparency in terms of how effective it is until you've paid for it. So to Jill first, but then anyone else who wants to come in this, please do. How do you pick a supplier for search engine optimization?
I think it's absolutely right. It is a dark art, and I think it can sometimes cause as much damage as it is you know, it could cause you a lot of damage, really, or it can do a lot of good for your business. We did it through recommendation, and through looking at suppliers and seeing who else they worked with and going direct to them for referrals. There are a lot of people offering a lot of services, and the quality of that service varies dramatically. You said about the price, it varies dramatically. So we went with an agency who we knew that they had worked with some other companies and got some great results. That was it, really. It's quite straightforward, but recommendations.
That's fantastic, thanks. And Jill, we have another question for you, which is from Ed Bassett, regarding billboards. I presume you have some billboards on your site, and Ed's asked where you source them from.
We used Strategy Solutions. So they own all the billboard space for Newcastle under Lyme. So our sort of premise was you're 5 minutes away from the region's largest craft beer warehouse. So we've been quite limited with the billboards we use because we have to be 5 minutes from here. But even people that knew we were here already, we sold more beer in March than we did in December from the billboards. And that's completely unheard of. So I think they did sort of like return on investment was about 5 times. So they're really, if you've got a local business, they're absolutely brilliant. I think much better than we thought they were going to be.
Fantastic. Well, return on investment of 5 times is a pretty good return, isn't it? So that speaks for itself there. Just to the previous question regarding SEO, I'll just highlight Mark McDonough has put in the chat that anybody who's interested in that can speak to his business EBY, who'll be very happy to talk it through with them. So there's the Staffordshire Network in action as we sit here watching this. So we've got time for one more question. I'm just seeing if there are any other questions rather than information. So the final question, Louisa, is for you, which is from Martin Lennon, which is to say that as this meeting is an ambassador meeting, what is our call for action to the ambassadors following on from this meeting? So that's a perfect question to close with, and a nice link to you to do that before we say thank you to everybody.
Absolutely. Thanks, Martin, for your question. We're right at the start of the journey, as I mentioned at the start of this session today, and that the events that we hold will be different at different times. So the ambassador events, such as these ones that are bi-monthly, are really about us showcasing the latest developments, so you are aware of everything that's going on across the county, and we are shouting and highlighting some of our great success stories. We will also be hosting other events that are more around networking, meeting and greeting types events as we grow and develop in the future. And clearly we're just at the start of launching our ambassador network in terms of the membership model itself, with the portal due to launch in July, and hopefully more of a welcome and physical networking setting as we return to some semblance of physical events in September. So very open to working with our ambassadors to see the types of events that you will find valuable, but I do absolutely take away the message that networking is a very important part of having an ambassador network. It's in the title, and as we hopefully return to being able to see and speak to each other in a more normal way, we will be looking to host more of those events that are around just that networking, as well as those where we are sharing and presenting stories as well. I hope that answers your question.
That's great, lovely. Thank you, Louisa. So we're at the end of our time, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you, firstly, to all of our panelists. Those were fantastic presentations. Thank you in particular to Louisa for arranging this event and for her work in bringing together the Ambassadors Project. And thank you to all of you for attending. Details of the next event will be shared shortly. We'll also share with you contact details of all of the panelists, so if there's any ongoing discussion that you want to have following the meeting, you'll be able to do that directly with them. And we look forward to seeing you at the next meeting in the very near future. Enjoy the rest of your day.